So, seeing as how this is our second season of Nerd Talk, I thought it'd be cool to talk about what's your favorite film sequel?
Like superhero-wise or anything?
Anything.
Back to the Future 2.
Back to the Future 2. That's a good choice. That'd be one of my favorites.
Because you get the hoverboard in it,
Yeah.
and he's actually in the future.
And he's actually in the future, which is just neat for some reason, even though we're pretty fast approaching on that
And then,
date.
like, the whole alternate reality thing
Mm-hmm.
is, like, one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Like, that whole second half of the film.
The alternate timeline?
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But superhero-wise, it would be probably Spider-Man 2.
Really? I would say The Dark Knight, but Spider-Man 2 was going to be my...
Spider-Man 2 was amazing.
Spider-Man 2 was going to be my Marvel choice, and my just my second choice, because The Dark Knight, I think you can't really top The Dark Knight.
No, The Dark Knight was amazing.
Right.
I don't know why that wouldn't even cross my mind. Probably because I was thinking of Spider-Man.
As far as other films in general, like Aliens is really good, even though it's... And
Yeah.
that's interesting because it took it in a different direction, you know, like... The first one's more of a tense thriller, horror, sci-fi horror movie, and the sequel was more sci-fi epic, James Cameron.
X-Men.
Terminator 2.
X-Men 2.
X-Men 2 is great.
Which I guess X-Men Days of Futures Past would be like a sequel.
It was like a sequel to First Class. I would definitely agree.
And it was amazing.
And it was pretty incredible. The cast was great, the acting was great, the action was great.
One of the best superhero movies of all time. I'd say it's probably my top 5 superhero movies.
I think it might be my favorite X-Men movie for sure.
Oh, definitely.
And I was just kind of blown away by it. Like I was worried that it was going to be a little like too convoluted, like too much going on, but it's
and
not.
It wasn't like they
handled it
did
well.
a great job like splitting up the future scenes from the scenes that would develop the story.
Right.
And so you didn't get like too much of the future characters. You didn't get too adapted, like too attached to those characters. You felt more like I want to continue seeing what's going on with Wolverine and Mystique.
Exactly.
And you kind of forgot about the future ones until they would just show them again.
Yeah. And yeah, the future stuff was pretty badass, like the Future Sentinels and...
Oh, and like the fight scenes in the future in general.
Yeah.
Like that's all the future was just all-out war.
Yeah, exactly.
So anytime you got to see there, it was just non-stop action.
Exactly. It was the last bit, which we're gonna get into spoiler territory, by the way. We're gonna have to, but like the bit. I mean, like they're like straight up murdering these characters in the future, and it's pretty crazy. Like Storm just gets fucking,
like
stabbed
the way that they kill them, like everyone dies in their own unique yet amazing way.
Yeah, kind of terrifying.
Like Warpath gets his head pushed in front of a heat beam.
Yeah.
And it's sick.
Yeah, everything's
Colossus gets ripped in half.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy,
but in the future, like the coolest thing was Blink.
Blink was really cool.
The way they had her using her power, she was like taking down everyone just by herself.
Yeah, I agree. Blink was really cool. I wanted more Bishop, but I'm hoping that they'll use him in like X-Force or something.
Or Age of Apocalypse.
Or even in Age of Apocalypse, which they set that up in the after-credit scene.
Yeah, you get to see a young Apocalypse with his horsemen in the distance.
With the horsemen in the distance. Like, it's pretty... The sequel's going to be pretty epic no matter what.
It is.
You know it is. Also, my favorite part of this movie was actually Quicksilver.
Quicksilver was, like, he made you laugh the entire time he was on screen.
Which... I'm glad because he looked like he looked like
lame.
shit. He looked really lame. I think we've talked about it in past episodes how disappointed we were and we were not looking forward to it. But it turned out really well.
They ended up using him like really well. Like really, they could have done the movie without him.
Yeah.
He was just there for a comic relief for a little bit, but it was definitely worth it.
And I read somewhere that originally it was going to be Juggernaut in that scene. Which was Quicksilver was used to break Magneto out of the Pentagon, and I read that it was actually Juggernaut, and they changed it. And I really wonder if they changed it because of all the announcements of Quicksilver and Avengers, and they didn't want to.
That's probably why they did it.
Thinks that it might be,
but like this movie pretty much made every other X-Men movie except for First Class just gone.
Yeah, which is awesome. Like they completely.
If you own the original trilogy plus Origins, just throw them away because they don't matter anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, if anything,
burn them.
If anything, at the reveal at the end when Wolverine goes back to the future to present or films present day, and you see Cyclops and Jean and all these people, Beast.
Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
If anything, it's good to have seen X-Men 3 because you'll know how much you hated it, and then you're like, they made up for it. Fuck you, X-Men Last Stand. Fuck you, Brett Ratner.
That's very true.
And I'm pretty sure that's what those final scenes did anyways, personally. Another film sequel this year was Amazing Spider-Man 2, which you haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen yet. I don't know what's wrong with me.
So we're gonna... Well, I know. You just didn't want to.
It's not that I didn't want to. It's that I wasn't as excited about it as I should have been.
And I get it. Now, I'm going to try to talk about it without spoiling things for you.
Alright.
I don't care if we spoil the audience, because if they're watching this, they've probably seen it. But I thought it looked bad. I ended up liking it more than I thought I would. However, the more I thought about it later, the more I was like, well, why did they do that? This was lame. This took too long, whatever. Like, they were just doing too much. The whole movie, a lot of the movie, they were setting up the future of Spider-Man. Like, they were setting up Sinister Six really hard. Setting up Sinister Six.
Which isn't surprising.
Yeah, the last, 20 minutes of the movie, 25 minutes of it, I thought was really good. I was really into that. Like, the final battle with Electro, I thought that whole bit, and then the final bit with Goblin, was really good. It was just kind of, it was just overall way too long, just too much going on. The acting was good. Electro was hilarious, but not really, I don't think it was meant to be hilarious. It just had these really cheesy Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin type one-liners, and it was, it was bad.
But you said it did look like Jamie Foxx was having a blast.
Yeah, you could tell he was having a blast for sure, and I don't blame him.
And sometimes those things help the movie, even if it's bad. It just helps knowing that the actor is having a good time.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why some of those actors do movies like that, because they know it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
They released details from the original script, apparently, that shows how different it was from the final product, which a lot of it is very minor. Like, one of the characters from the first one kind of, is in the sequel, but they kind of replaced his character with another character. And anyways, it would have been good continuity. The Indian character in the first movie. He wasn't in the sequel, but it was replaced by Colm Feore's character, who's like a lackey or whatever in Oscorp. There's also better setup for Electro's motives, which this isn't too big of a spoiler, but Electro's motives basically is oh, Spider-Man, you're getting more attention than I am in this scene. I'm angry and I'm a villain now. And obviously, that, and it's, people are obviously treating him like he's a bad guy because Spider-Man's there and they're like Spider-Man. But in the original script, it had to do with his mom, and who's in a wheelchair, and after he dies before becoming Electro, she's getting this huge payout. He sees that she's happier now that he's gone, and so that motivates him to be that he just gets angry. I think that's
understandable.
It's a little better. They explain. J. Jonah Jameson had an appearance in the original script.
Yeah.
Which in the sequel
was it J? Because I know they're talking about making it J.K. Simmons again.
I hope they do, but I don't think they didn't really mention that. It was just because in the sequel, Peter is working for the Daily Planet.
Daily Bugle.
Or Daily Bugle, thank you. But he never goes there. He's sending an email to J. Jonah Jameson, who responds back saying something very J. Jonah Jameson-like.
Yeah.
But he's not there. That was kind of disappointing that they cut him out. Also, Mary Jane, of course, which everybody knows about that. Shailene Woodley was cast as Mary Jane. They even filmed all of her scenes and then decided there was too much going on and they cut her out, which is good because the movie was already really long.
Yeah.
Plus, they also thought that it would take away from his relationship with Gwen, which is a huge part of the movie. Also, this isn't gonna. This is I can tell you this without spoiling the movie.
Hit me with it.
In the original script, Peter's dad shows up alive and well.
Yeah.
It has apparently been watching him this whole time and is proud of him, and he gives Peter the motivation to continue on, and he also delivers the "with great power comes great responsibility" line. But they ended up cutting that out, and that's kind of a bummer because that's kind of neat. Now, that's a huge deal. That's a really big thing.
That's a huge thing.
However, personally, I think that they should have done that, and then they should have revealed that it was Chameleon or something.
Oh.
That would have been pretty bitchin'.
That would have been badass. That's a twist.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty bitchin' little. They probably wouldn't have done that, but it would have been really cool.
That would have been super cool.
But apparently now the future is very uncertain for the franchise, because the writer who did the first two isn't going to do it now, which I'm actually okay with. But the sequel was supposed to be 2 years from now, and they might delay it a year.
Yeah.
Which I think it's smart to kind of reevaluate things because this movie wasn't as successful. It was the lowest grossing film of the Spider-Man franchise, even including the Raimi's trilogy.
And if they postpone it, Andrew Garfield might not even.
He might not even want to do it
anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do any after the third one, anyways.
Right, and I think that the whole Sinister Six thing is it's too much going on too fast.
And since they're saying their story was inspired by the Ultimate Universe,
Yeah.
Which in the Ultimate Universe they have a new Spider-Man now because Peter Parker was killed. They have Miles, the little black kid.
Right.
And So I mean, if they could go about it that way.
They could.
In the third one, but then I feel like the Sinister Six wouldn't have any reason to go after this new Spider-Man.
Right. Exactly.
Like, but they could kill off the old one.
Yeah.
And then this kid like witnesses it and comes in. It's like.
Right. I think I agree that there are ways to do it, but they definitely need to take some time to kind of reevaluate things and figure it out for sure. Because, while I won't say it was a catastrophe of a movie, it wasn't a Spider-Man 3. It was pretty close to being a Spider-Man 3, as far as in Raimi's franchise. Like,
that's pretty bad.
I think it's better than that, but there was just too much going on. Moving on to Star Wars news.
All right.
Star Wars news we don't talk about a whole lot because there's so much other superhero stuff.
And they don't reveal a lot of Star Wars stuff.
They don't. It's Abrams, and he's very secretive.
Yes, Kevin Smith saw it.
Kevin Smith was there and cried on set and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like he saw the Millennium Falcon and everything.
Yeah. But they announced the cast, like a month or two ago, which is really cool. Adam Driver, who I haven't actually seen him I've only seen him in a couple things, but he's like an up-and-comer. Oscar Isaac from Inside Llewyn Davis and Drive, who's really good.
Yeah, he'll be cool.
Max von Sydow, who I really dig, who's a just classic actor. He was the villain in Flash Gordon and all kinds of stuff. As well as Andy Serkis is in this.
Of course
he is. Then
I wonder if they're going to put Simon Pegg in it as like a cameo or something.
I'd be okay with that. Lupita Nyong'o and Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones is also in it, which they got a pretty solid cast.
Yeah, that's an awesome cast. And they're bringing back, we also have Harrison Ford, of course, and
Mark
all the
Hamill,
classics.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher.
Exactly. There's like a lesser known
Peter
actress
Mayhew,
that plays their daughter.
Chewbacca.
Yeah. They got a pretty solid cast in there. I'm pretty pleased with the casting so far, and there might even be more casting, to come. You don't really know.
Yeah.
They've also announced the director for Episode 8 already, who's going to write and direct it, and that's Rian Johnson from
all the Joseph Gordon-Levitt movies.
Yeah, he did Looper and Brick, which are amazing, and Brothers Bloom.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to direct Episode 9, but he might help write it or provide a treatment for it or whatever. So it's kind of
really cool.
It's exciting.
I think he'll do a great job.
I think so too. It's I've been waiting on him to get a big movie because he's a great low budget. I love Looper. I'll support that movie all the time.
And during filming, Harrison Ford broke his ankle.
Yeah.
And they've been having to pick up a lot of his roles using some of the other cast members.
Yeah, I read that they gave some more importance to Oscar Isaac's character a little bit, and which is kind of neat. That's fine. You give it off to some of the new people.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford could have been a dick and be like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to wait until I get better. I want all of my parts.
Yeah. So good for you, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, way to be a good guy.
Way to be a good guy. Way to pass the torch. They've also hired directors for some of the spin-off movies, which we don't really know what they are.
Well, I know they've talked about a Boba Fett one.
Yeah.
And a Han Solo.
Yeah. I've heard rumors of Yoda and
which would be Star Wars has a thing with the spin-offs now, like they did, the Clone Wars saga. They had the Yoda Chronicles.
Right.
And stuff like that. I think a Boba Fett one would be cool. He's a character that everyone enjoys.
Even though he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, he doesn't really do much in the movies, but in the comic book series, he's has his own stuff going on.
Right, exactly.
Being Boba.
But they've hired Josh Trank, who directed Chronicle and is directing the already hated Fantastic Four movie, to do one of them, and then Gareth Edwards, who recently directed Godzilla, are the two directors, which they're pretty solid choices. And I think the rumor was that Josh Trank was going to do the young Han Solo, and Gareth Edwards would do Boba Fett. Or maybe I got those backwards, but those were kind of the rumors thrown about.
Yeah.
For those, but
that's cool.
Yeah. On to news in the comic book world.
What's going on?
New Avengers Now.
Oh yeah.
Rebooting some things.
Yeah, Marvel rebooted pretty much everything.
Yeah.
With their whole Now thing. It's like DC when they did the New 52.
Right.
Marvel's doing the Now.
Yeah.
And I know they started with Spectacular Spider-Man ending and Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man again after Doc Ock was. And they're doing new stuff with, they have the whole Guardians of the Galaxy back with the comic series. Venom joined the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that's random and cool.
It is. They completely revamped the Thunderbolts and stuff. Huh. The Punisher in there and stuff like that. And they're more of a hit squad now, and they go on these missions and stuff. Deadpool's in there.
But they're doing some... Oh, and they're killing Wolverine.
They're going to kill Wolverine.
They're going to kill Wolverine.
It's going to be an epic XMen series.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that one. They've also done two other super major things that they've done.
I know they killed Uatu the Watcher.
Oh, did they?
And that was a huge thing in the Marvel universe.
Oh, that's still not what I'm talking about.
But are you talking about making Thor a female?
Yeah, talking about making Thor a female, which is weird.
Yeah, apparently Mjolnir feels like the god of thunder is unworthy of his powers.
Yeah.
So, because, whoever wields Mjolnir has the powers of Thor. So the hammer leaves and finds some lady.
Yeah, although...
as far as I know.
Yeah, because what's confusing is they're saying, like, it's not she-Thor, it's not Thor lady.
No, it's
Thor.
still Thor.
So that confuses me.
It's just another character, it's just someone else with powers.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know, it's...
Which they've done that with Loki before. Like, Loki at one point was a female.
Oh, yeah?
And, like, Loki's been a child. It's just different embodiment, like the god in different embodiment. So maybe it's, the god in the embodiment of a female. Which
true.
I feel like is not going to last long.
No, it's a really interesting...
Like, I know, personally, I'm not too thrilled about it.
Yeah.
I never was one to, like, pick up and read Thor comics.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of fans of Thor are not going to appreciate it. I mean,
right.
Especially with the movies, like, a lot of the comic sales nowadays, like, comics are doing awesome nowadays because of how the movies do.
Right.
The movies help a lot. People aren't going to go and see Chris Hemsworth be Thor and then want to go buy a comic where Thor's a lady.
It makes me curious. I don't know. I'm intrigued enough to check it out.
Yeah.
But I'm a little hesitant.
Like, I wonder how they're going to execute it. If they do it well, it could be really good.
It could be. The change that I'm kind of all for is a new Captain America, which is Sam Wilson or Falcon. And I fully support that one.
Have you seen the picture of the suit?
I have. The suit looks really cool.
Yeah, he doesn't have like the Captain America helmet or anything, but he has like his Falcon glasses on, the Captain America suit, and then he has these red and blue wings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks. I'm pretty excited about that one. I guess it sounds like they're going to take Steve Rogers off, like, in a similar to when Bucky became Captain America.
Yeah, which that was pretty cool. Like Steve Rogers was kind of like a mentor or something. Like he was the voice of the Avengers and everything, and then Bucky was Captain America, right? They're doing about the same thing with Sam Wilson, right?
Yeah, it's what it sounds like, but it makes me wonder now that they've introduced Falcon in the Marvel film universe, if it's going to affect that, if they're still going to go the Bucky route, which they're obviously setting up.
Yeah.
But now they've kind of got another option, and I feel like people liked Falcon. I dug Falcon in the movie.
Oh yeah, I dug Falcon in the movie.
Anthony Mackie's the shit. So.
He is, but Bucky was awesome in the movie as well.
Right.
As Winter Soldier.
Iron Man has a new suit. He's like superior Iron Man now. Like they did that with Spider-Man, But yeah, this Avengers Now thing is going to be pretty interesting.
Because I know, like, for a while they were like stripping Tony Stark of his Iron Man suit, because of his alcoholism.
Right.
And like he wasn't allowed to wear it anymore. Mm-hmm. And so now I feel like they're taking that in a completely new route.
Yeah, that's
with the whole Marvel Now.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
We'll keep an eye on that and see how that goes.
Yeah.
On to TV news pretty quickly. Gotham looks really good.
Gotham looks amazing.
They've casted Brandon Routh in Arrow, which is interesting. He's playing
he played Superman.
He played Superman, and now he's going to be in Arrow. Which is almost kind of sad, I guess, because you play Superman, now you're in a bit part in Arrow.
Who is Adam?
He's like their version of Ant-Man.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think he can go even smaller than Ant-Man can.
Down to the size of an atom.
I think so, yeah.
That makes sense.
They've introduced the Flash and Arrow and the Flash. They've released the trailer for that, and I think it looks pretty good.
It doesn't look bad.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I think the guy playing Flash just seems like he's doing a good job from the trailer and from the episodes of Arrow that he was in.
With back to Gotham for a second.
Yeah.
They're saying they're going to put the Joker, like a reference to the Joker in every episode.
Yeah, like kind of like setting up the future of Joker, where they're gonna have like a person who could be the Joker in every episode. Which that's an interesting thing to do, but this is taking place 20 years basically before he becomes Batman. Before Bruce Wayne becomes Batman. And they're setting up a lot of his villains already.
And we're supposed to be following Gordon and not Batman.
Right. Like they have a young Catwoman, a young Riddler. There's rumors of a young Mr. Freeze, or it could, and obviously a lot of these are gonna be before they're bad guys. Like Mr. Freeze is, I think, a good one to do because he wasn't a bad guy.
No, he just loved his wife.
He just loved his wife, and that'd be an interesting route to take for the show. But the Joker thing, I just think it's.
I think that's a little too much.
It's just a little too much.
But we'll see how they do it.
We'll see how they do it because Gotham looks really good, and I'm excited to check it out. But
what about Daredevil?
Oh, Daredevil! How could I forget about Daredevil?
Don't leave yet.
Daredevil, they've been rounding out the cast. Charlie Cox from Stardust and Boardwalk Empire is playing Matt Murdock in Daredevil.
Which I think he'll do an alright job.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't dislike him as an actor or anything. I just,
he hasn't done a lot.
He hasn't done a whole lot. I mean,
he just shows up every couple of years and something.
Vincent D'Onofrio, or how to pronounce his name, is Kingpin, which I think is really cool. He's from Full Metal Jacket, Men in Black.
Yeah, I think he'll be an awesome Kingpin. Yeah. He definitely has the form for it.
He has the like intimidating size.
And he's an intimidating man.
He is, yeah. Rosario Dawson is cast, which they don't know who it's going to be, but I think the rumor is that she'll be Elektra. Seeing as how she's the only cast member, they haven't told who she's going to play.
And she has the physical perfection to be Elektra.
Yeah. Eldon Hansen, who I know from Mighty Ducks, is going to play Foggy Nelson, which I think is a good casting. And then recently they just announced that Deborah Ann Wool from True Blood is going to be
Karen Page.
So a love interest for Daredevil.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really...
I'm super excited for it.
Yeah,
I've always enjoyed Daredevil. He's like the Batman of Marvel.
Right. And yeah, the cast that they got for it is really solid, and so I'm excited to see where it goes and how it turns out. Hopefully we get more info on the other Netflix movies soon.
I hope so.
Not movies,
Netflix shows.
Netflix shows, yeah. So that'll do it for an episode of Nerd Talk.
Thanks for watching our two-parter.
Our two-part return, but we will continue.
And let us know what you think.
Yeah. Comment.
And watch for our other projects that will be arriving as well. Pyro Plows.